Okay, so welcome to the last leg of the tutorial. This is where you're going to need to decide whether or not you're going to upload your garment as a one-piece thing or you're going to upload it into multiple parts. So if you're going to upload it into multiple parts, you can pretty much skip this part and just wait for us to get down into bacon. But if you want to upload your garment into two parts, this is how you separate it. So what you do is select your garment, then you're going to press tab, and you can either hold your cursor over the part you want and press L and press P, and then you can just separate by selection, and you can just divide it, so now you have two pieces of the garment instead of just one. Or let me go back a bit before. There we go. Now we're still back at one. So, or you can press A and select all, and then you can press P and then separate by material. Then Blender will separate them by materials assigned. So this one's on its own material. This will be separated. Everything on that material will be separated into that one group. So it's like that's another way of doing it instead of going L separate, L separate. You can just separate them by materials. So let's assume that you want to upload your garment into two pieces. So that's what we're going to go on from there. When you have it in two pieces, that means you'll have to upload two maps. If you want to try to save money, you can actually join them and then let it be one map as well, or just have one map. So we're going to take the more expensive route and make two maps for our stuff. So what I'm going to want to do is we need to look at our UV panel. And you do that by taking your cursor and putting it up to the top right of the corner, top right corner, and you'll see your cursor going from an arrow to a little cross. When it turns into a cross, you're going to want to left click and then drag it over to the left, and you'll see a new window form. When a new window has formed, you're going to change your 3D viewpoint. It's like right next to view, and there's this little drop menu. So you're going to click that drop menu and change it from 3D to UV image editor. And when it's here, you're going to go back over to our 3D window and press tab, then A, and you'll see that your UV mapping for the t-shirt shows up. Now this is where you see that it looks exactly like it was in Marvel's Designer. That's because those are your maps. So fun, yeah? So what you can do here, this is where you're going to decide how your stuff is laid out. You can leave it as is, but if you feel like this is a little small for what you want, you can press A and S and then scale it up. Actually, this kind of goes into something a little more detailed. I guess because this is special, anyway, I can show you some techniques. So this is where your UV map is. This is how the text is pretty much the data for saying this is where you want your textures to lay. You can edit them. You can hover your cursor over them and press L, and you can press S and scale it, or press G and move it around if you want to, or you can press R and rotate it however you want your textures to be. There's also a feature, like say if you were making a shirt and you want to be able to put a texture on the front and on the back, you can do that as well. You just have to assign a material to the back part of the texture. Now, unlike before, you can't just hold your cursor over L and then your cursor over the garment, press L, and it shows you the back of it. It's not, in most cases, it doesn't work that way. So what we're going to do is press A and select everything. And then you're going to go down here to the bottom right, and you're going to see this little box with a block and an arrow to it. This is the UV sync mode. We're just going to click that button. Now when we try to press L over it won't let you. It's going to say cannot select when sync is enabled. So we're just going to press A and deselect everything. And this time when we press it, you'll see that our UV map is still here. We're going to find the UV map that corresponds with the back of the t-shirt, which is this one right here. If you're ever curious, you can just select the face editor and click on the face. Zoom in and click on the face, and it will light up over here. So that's how you can identify which part goes to what. This is our back side, so we're going to just use the back. you can press the B, and you can select all of the mapping here for the back. And then with it all selected, you just go over to the material tab, add a new material, press new, and then hit assign, and you want to name this shirt back. Now it'll still have the same UV mapping if you choose it to, but now you can make double tone or two-tone shirts, or put something on the back and then leave the front fine, or have people be able to change out the texture so it's out like that. You can do this with pretty much the whole shirt, not just the back. You can, if you wanted to, highlight half of the shirt like so, and then assign that its own texture, and that way you have shirts with that. But this method is really used for something that's more quads. It doesn't have a pretty effect when it's in triangles. So that's a little advanced texturing right there. If you want, we can also, so that's pretty much it right now. We'll make sure when you're done you turn off that UV sync, because it's a pain in the butt otherwise. I'm going to remove the shirt back because I don't want it to have two textures. I want it to just be all one texture because I'm trying to save money a little bit. Alright, so let's get rid of this, and then tab A, assign, everything's good. Alright, so baking. Let's get into baking. Baking. So you want to change your diffuse color. You want to click on the shirt thing, change the diffuse color to white, because if we were to bake as is, it would bake red, and we don't want that. And you want to do the same thing for the pants and just make it white. And we have this. So I'm going to select the shirt, and you're going to create a new texture, and it should say 1024 by 1024 by default. We're going to double this, so you can just press shift and 8, and that gives you an asterisk, and you can press 2. So you're basically telling Blender, take this default one and divide and multiply it by 2, and that'll give you 2048. And so you pretty much can either type in 2048 or do the asterisk 2. So either way, you end up with a texture that's 2048 by 2048. And I'm naming this shirt, and hit OK. Now you know you'd be thinking like, hey, Blender, Second Life can only do 1024 by 1024. Well, it'll resize. Shut up. Okay, so we have our shirt. We press A, and we're going to put in our shirt texture. And now we're going to go to our world panel here, and you're going to check this box that says ambient occlusion. And you're going to scroll down a bit to it says gather, and it has samples. Now samples, have you ever seen a texture, like a baked texture, and it has like kind of a grit to it, like these tiny little gritty dots all over it? Well, that's the sample rate here. The lower the number, the more grit and sand, I like to call it, will be over your texture, and it'll render super fast. But the less grit on it, you want less grit on it, and the more high quality render, you're going to turn it up. So I think 22 was the number, the magic number I was told. But for the sake of this, I'm just going to go like at 10 or so it can just render really fast. Fun fact, quads will render a lot faster than triangles. So if you're like in a rush, gotta go, you may want to try turning this into quads. But triangles are totally fine. So once you have your sample rate set, we're going to go over to the rendering panel, which is this little camera here, and you're going to scroll down until you see bake, and you're going to switch it from whatever it is, it might be on full render, to ambient occlusion. Make sure you have these boxes checked, normalized and clear, and then you're going to hit bake, and we're just going to watch it bake the shadow map bake onto the texture. And you don't have to watch it. Here we go. Now I'm just going to be baking the shirt. I'm not going to do the pants because I want to get this tutorial over as fast as I can. So you can do the same thing for your pants. Just create a new texture and then start baking on it. So once our texture here is all done out, I'm going to hit file. I believe it's a file. You're going to hit image, and you're going to save as image, and I'm going to navigate to the project folder. It's going to be in ping, so I'm going to do press the plus button and make maybe twice or so, and save it as shirt 1 and hit save as. And yeah, that's it for baking the shadow map. Now we're going to take our object, our t-shirt in this case, and we're going to put it in what's the program called, Photoshop, and start texturing on it there. So into Photoshop.